Oh, the heat is on. Seems like the AI Vader saga is just getting started. Yo, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. And man, when did I post the AI Vader video? Like Sunday. I'm recording this the day after Monday. And I did not expect things to take such a drastic turn. So, for a TLDR, for everyone who is just tuning in and has not seen that video or is completely unaware of what is going on right now, Fortnite is currently running a Star Wars themed Battle Pass season, and a few days ago they decided to add a Vader interactive AI that is using the vocal likeness of James Earl Jones. Now, there's been a bunch of opinions, both for, against, in the middle. If you want to know my opinion, please check the video after this one. Yeah. But it seems like the union for all actors, SAG AFTRA, has given their opinion today, and oh my gosh, is it a scathing one. SAG AFTRA basically released this statement saying that, hey, you know, we're all for our actors and people working under us, for their estates and performers to work with companies for the use of selling their vocal likeness for whatever have you. We're all for that. However, you need to involve us. You need to involve us so we could bargain, so we can understand what's going on and what's happening, and so we could better protect our performers. Because we're currently on a strike right now. They didn't say that, but SAG AFTRA game voice actors are on strike. They have been since July. I was looking it up, July of 2024. It's literally about to be a year since they've been on strike. Jesus. Oh my God. They go on to say that while that's fine and dandy, Fortnite or Llama Productions, the voice casting people, I believe, did not clear with the union, went behind their backs, and they are now filing an unfair labor practice charge with the National Labor Relations Board. And yeah, man, that's crazy. Now, for people who don't know what an unfair labor charge is, it's basically where, you know, if there's any malpractice with the union, or you feel discriminated against, or there's some foul play going on, you can file a charge with the either National Labor Relations Board or the Federal Labor Relations Authority. And of course, SAG AFTRA decided to go with the National Labor Relations, and they can investigate the charges, see what's going on, and they could face a penalty or a slew of other charges if they are found guilty of this charge. And man, I cannot believe that SAG stepped up. Not to say that I'm like surprised that the union is defending us as performers or defending James Earl Jones or whatever, but it's just they're busy striking. They're trying to get this strike over with, and they're making deals with multiple gaming companies. I'm so happy that tons of interim agreements have been signed, but a lot of game companies, there's just a few out there that are holding out, and I don't know why. Just signed the agreement and get this over with. But hey, you know, we know how companies like to get down. So I was just surprised to see this being announced, but man, am I so happy to see this. I'm seeing a ton of comments under the SAG AFTRA announcement post of this, and even a lot of Twitter or X or whatever, people chiming in and giving their opinion, saying this doesn't matter, it's between James Earl Jones and his estate, this has nothing to do with SAG AFTRA, this, that, and the third, just opinion, blah, 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 blah. And I'm here to tell you why it does matter and why you should shut the up, right? So what SAG AFTRA is basically alleging is that Epic Games or Llama Productions basically went behind the union's back and made this deal with James Earl Jones' estate instead of making sure everything was okay with the union and making sure that everything was fine and dandy. That is a huge deal. That is like a major deal, and I understand people are looking at it as like, oh, well, if it's okay with the family, that's okay. But no, when you're dealing with millions of performers, or when you're dealing with someone so iconic as James Earl Jones and his legacy, even though he did sell away his vocal likeness, you need to cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure that everything is what it is and it is what it needs to be. And also, I said this in my video giving my opinion on what I think about the Vader AI. This could not have been the worst time to do this. I'm gonna keep saying this, but voice actors are currently on strike to fight against this practice so there can be a fair deal. So if there are performers who do want to sell their vocal likeness, they can do that, but can be fairly compensated. And just to navigate this new technological landscape that we find ourselves in, they've been on strike, like I said, since July of 2024. This is a terrible time to do this when you aren't even sitting down with the union and giving them what they are asking for. There are plenty of companies who are signing interim agreements and complying with what SAG AFTRA is asking for. But there are a few companies such as Epic Games and Activision and Electric Arts who are not giving their all. They're not listening to what we are requiring as performers. It's completely unfair and it's unjust. If you want to run a business, but run it right. You can't just speak to one person when there are multiple parties involved to make sure that this is okay and that it is up to code and standard. It'd be like this, right? Imagine you're trying to make a deal with someone and you guys are having a back and forth, and then the person you're making a deal with is doing something shady behind your back and is making a backdoor deal with someone else when you are currently trying to make a deal with that same person. That's not right, that's not fair, and that's not how it should work. We see how greedy and predatory these companies are time and time again. We see that they are willing to do this, that, and the third. What it feels like to me, right? Reading what SAG AFTRA said, I feel as if Epic Games was just like, let's go to James Earl Jones' family and ask him real quick so we can have a bunch of people defend us and be like, oh, but James Earl Jones. I really feel like they did that because why would you just go speak solely to the family when you know you need to be speaking to the union to get this approved and squared away? Because you want that public support. You want people to be like, but James Earl Jones said it's okay, but his family said it's okay, but you want that, and you are getting that, unfortunately, with a lot of these blue check mark Twitter people or people who just don't understand how the union or what is going on currently in the industry works. And you're getting all this support and sympathy and this aggravation and this back and forth when Epic Games, if they are found guilty, are more than in the wrong and need to be charged. You can't do business and then do it halfway. You have to do it fully. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of work. Yes, but this is someone's intellectual property. It's their voice. They are trusting you to take care of their legacy and want to make sure you are using this correctly. Even SAG AFTRA said in the statement that yes, they're fine with the uses of this technology and such, but you need to check with us so we can protect our performers who are currently on strike right now and who are suffering and are lacking work because they are striking with us and want a better deal, so we could continue the flow of new and upcoming actors to continue to create iconic characters. Imagine this, right? Sam Witwer said this so beautifully. I'm actually going to play the clip in here as I head out. But Sam Witwer put this so beautifully, and I find it so funny that he used James Earl Jones as as this analogy, and then the AI Vader came out soon after he dropped the video. But he's basically talking about, imagine if you're this kid who has this unique quality just like James Earl Jones, and you're trying to build it, you're trying to find your voice as an artist. But these vocal cloning companies are coming to you and are like, hey, we're going to pay you like a flat fee of $1,000, $2,000 to use your voice wherever and whichever way we want to. And instead of being able to hone that beautiful gift, that beautiful voice that you have, you'll never be able to create these iconic characters because you've already sold your voice to these AI companies and they're using it for TV shows and commercials and ads and all this, that, and the third. You never get the opportunity to grow. You never get the opportunity to fully grow into the artist that you are meant to be. I said this in my other video, but give these companies an inch and I promise you, they're going to take 1.5 miles. They taking 2 miles. Yeah. Because that's how egotistical and greedy they are. We just came from a strike where we saw how greedy and stubborn these companies and corporations are. And it's like we keep having this circular conversation going back and forth in a circle, and we keep forgetting how greedy and evil these companies are, how predatory this industry truly is. We need to make sure that everything is being followed to code and that everything is understood so that we can protect ourselves, protect the future generation, and make sure that we are not leaving anyone out of this process. So many people have taken on the role of Darth Vader. Scott Lawrence just did him in Star Wars Outlaws and has been doing a phenomenal job as him lately. But then before him, there was Matt Sloan, and then we have Fred Tatasciore in there. I know there are other voice actors that I can't think of off the top of my head, but those are the most popular. But so many people have done that, and we need to protect them, and we need to make sure that everything is up to code. Don't run a business halfway, run it fully. And if Epic Games is running this company, running their business halfway, then yes, they need to be charged and they need to be held accountable. I don't care if you got James Earl Jones' family's approval to use AI Vader. You need to make sure that everything is up to code. And if you aren't, I hope you face the full force of the consequences of your actions. I do. Genuinely. So that's all I gotta say on that, man. I know that James Earl Jones' family also released a statement. I'll just talk about this briefly. Sorry, something came up on my software, but James Earl Jones' family's released a statement, and it basically said, James Earl Jones saw the voice of Darth Vader as inseparable from the story of Star Wars, and he wants people to continue to enjoy and live in the legacy of Vader, and for all future generations to come together and just enjoy Vader. And to that, I'm going to say this. I know the family supports this. I know James Earl Jones sold his vocal likeness away. Just because we continue to hear James Earl Jones' voice as Vader does not mean you're continuing his legacy and doing it justice. Doing it justice and continuing it is allowing the many people that I've named to bring their own unique interpretation to Vader. We all know that when people play Darth Vader, who are they going for? The man himself, the vocal god himself, James Earl Jones. That is how you continue legacy. That is how you properly handle it. The voice of Vader is always going to be there, but James Earl Jones is not the only person that has brought their own unique twist to the role of Vader. The beautiful thing about acting and the legacy of these characters is that so many people get to bring their own unique interpretations. There's not one person to hold the roles. Obviously, there's some people that we hold in high regards, like Peter Cullen, Kevin Conroy, Steve Bloom as Wolverine. I mean, how many times have we heard him as Wolverine over the years? But he is not the only person to play Wolverine. There's Cal Dodd. There's Scott McNeil. For Peter Cullen, there's David Kaye. There's Gary Chalk. Other people have brought their own unique flavor to the role of these very iconic characters, and that is how you continue legacy and continue the lifeblood of these characters to live well after you have gone. When these iconic acts pass away, it is heartbreaking because they mean so much to us and to so many fans around the world. But this is not doing their legacy justice, continuing them with cheap gimmicks and AI tricks. Performers and family members can be okay with it all they want, but that doesn't mean I have to agree with it. As someone who is a performer and loves the art of performing itself, it's really disheartening to see this, and it's unfortunate to see how many people do not understand the full ramifications of things like this, or just AI being used in video games or TV shows or movies in general. So many people hate on anime dubs, but man, at least it's human. At least someone's giving it a shot and giving it a chance. Don't take that away. Don't take away the true beauty of performing, the true artistry of crafting a character away from us. And that's all I gotta say on that. I'm gonna leave you with the words of Sam Witwer, and I'm gonna catch you on the next video. As always, peace, love, safety, and please let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll see y'all next time.
Imagine there's some young actor who has no idea that they're going to become the next James Earl Jones because they have some vocal quality that's so unique. But they're starting to develop it, starting to figure out what to do with it. Let's say they sign with one of these vocal cloning things, and for $1,000, that vocal cloning firm owns their vocal likeness. That actor will never become the next James Earl Jones because by the time that they develop their skills, Their voice will be all over the internet on YouTube videos, and their voice will be worthless. Their tools will be stripped from them in terms of its monetary value, in terms of its intrinsic value to the industry, its uniqueness. We need something that protects the next generation, the people that could become those venerated actors. If we don't protect them in their early state, they never get to become those people. James Earl Jones would never have become James Earl Jones if someone stole his vocal likeness early on and it was sold for pennies on the dollar.